Good evening. Thanks for joining us. 1 year ago, Hamas inflicted the worst attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust. The horrific massacre happened half a world away, but it forever changed the lives of some in Vancouver. Those whose loved ones were kidnapped and those who are mourning a young man killed in the attack. CTV's Kevin Chirac has more.
The lights were turned on 1 year ago today.
I said that I'm not going to turn it off until all the hostages will be safe at home.
Rudy Mizrahi's aunt and uncle lived in kibbutz near Oz, located close to the Gaza border. She spent time there growing up. It's where she learned how to swim. On October 7th, a place filled with happy memories turned into a scene of horror. Hamas killed, burned, and kidnapped many, including her aunt and uncle.
I feel very sad. I'm very angry.
Her aunt, Yochke Lifshitz, was released early in the war. Her 84-year-old uncle Oded, a retired journalist who used to volunteer and drive cancer patients living in Gaza for treatment, still among the more than 100 hostages whose whereabouts are unknown.
How often do you think of your uncle?
Every day.
On this grim one-year anniversary, Mizrahi reflects on her family and the many lives impacted on this tragic day.
Also, a good friend of mine lost his son on October 7th, and we lost a very good friend, like family from Vancouver, Ben Mizrahi.
Ben Mizrahi, no relation to Rudy, graduated from Vancouver's King David High School. He was one of the hundreds killed that day by Hamas at the Nova Music Festival, reportedly as he was helping a friend who was shot.
Even to the very end, he was always about helping others, and he died, from what the reports are, helping others.
Today, King David's staff and students held a private ceremony for Mizrahi and others killed or kidnapped.
It was a day of reflection and a day to be together, to sort of come together as a community on an anniversary of a very hard day.
Meanwhile, Rudy hangs on to a fading belief for her uncle in a war she sees no end in sight.
All we have to do now is to hope and pray that for a miracle.
Kevin Chirac, CTV News, Vancouver.
This has been a difficult year for both sides of the conflict. Jewish places of worship have been targeted, and the Palestinian community struggles with ongoing deaths in Gaza. CTV's Yasmin Gandam has more on one local restaurant owner who's been the target of online hate.
A solemn and emotional day for Israelis and Palestinians. The October 7th attack saw more than 1,200 Israelis killed and has left more than 41,000 dead in Gaza.
One of the things that kept us going and gave us hope and energy is the way the larger community here in Vancouver responded and interacted with what's happening.
Sobaya Al-Zobadi owns Tamam, a Palestinian restaurant in Vancouver. The restaurant is filled with messages of solidarity for the Palestinian community.
There is a sense of empowerment and a sense of the need, urgency to organize, urgency to mobilize, urgency to get in touch with each other.
Al-Zobani spent his childhood in a refugee camp near Ramallah. He says his eatery has faced harassing phone calls and negative online reviews.
Calling us terrorists, calling us Hamas supporters, etc., etc. It lasted for like a few months.
But he's used his food to help people in Gaza.
Usually we close on Sundays, but we started once a month. Every Sunday we open for fundraiser. So we continued. Now we raised about $95,000.
Meanwhile, the local Jewish community has been facing anti-Semitic threats, including an attempted fire at a Vancouver synagogue earlier this year.
In the public domain, and we are very concerned with the rise of anti-Semitism.
Police have set up additional cameras at places of worship, and a mobile command center has been deployed at the Jewish Community Center.
But we shouldn't have to need that kind of protection to be able to attend our places of worship.
In the year since, thousands of protests have taken place across the country, with pro-Israeli demonstrators demanding Hamas release the hostages, while pro-Palestinian voices have called for a ceasefire and peace between the two sides. Yasmin Gandham, CTV News, Vancouver.